Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Career Uninterrupted. I'm your host, Lochan Narayanan, founder and CEO of Off Experiences. Today, we will be exploring the world of entrepreneurship and motherhood with Deepshikha Kumar. Often counted amongst the most networked entrepreneurs in Asia, Deepshikha is at the helm of making a global mark with her startup, SpeakIn, which is Asia's largest digital platform for professional learning. Deepshikha is also a TEDx speaker. She's an author and an avid guide on building excellence in speech. Deepshikha recently finished her first book titled 101 Lessons to Be a Damn Good Speaker, the official speak in guide to becoming a five-star speaker. Thank you so much, Deepshikha, for being here and for having this conversation with us and sharing your learnings and your experiences with us.
It's an absolute pleasure, Lochan. Kudos to the phenomenal work that you're doing and you and your team are doing. And look forward to the conversation.
So before we jump into the more serious part of the discussion or the topic at hand, I would really like to know a bit more about your career journey and your experience building speaking.
Oh, it's been phenomenal. I think it's been a ride. Which was. I was talking to somebody today morning only. I think it was marred with all kinds of things, including tears, exhilaration, enthusiasm, uh, happiness, extreme joy, completely unfounded greenfield experiences. And but it's been good. I think one thing it has never been is procrastination. I think that has helped. But beyond that, it's been everything. It's been everything. Yes.
So what was your career journey like before you started speaking?
I started, I did my schooling and my graduation in Delhi and studied Delhi University. We were one of the first 4 year university batches, so we were kind of the guinea pigs for the education. It failed miserably. I did terribly in my grades, but passed somehow. So then realized education is not for me, but then went on to work. I got an opportunity in US right after my graduation. Worked there for a while, came back to India, worked some more, then joined ISB, did an year-long MBA, and then I realized I want to study more. It was
Okay.
exciting. It was more industry-led rather than theory-led. I went to Wharton for another year, and from there I got an opportunity to join a company called JD Power in
Okay.
Singapore,
Okay.
and it was a regional role. I came here, spent about 4 years with them, went back to India. My first daughter was on her way, and we wanted to be close to family. And that's when I joined Ernst& Young. Spent about 6 years with them, and by that time, I also had my second daughter, and further realized that now I can't work in a predefined environment. And I think it was both a combination of motherhood and my own attitude. I've always been a shoot ready and aim kind of a person, and, which doesn't work in a defined executive professional framework. With that format, you make a lot of mistakes, and then you need somebody to own up to them. But so those two put together started speaking, and that's it. It's been speaking ever since.
So, when you think about your journey with speaking and also the fact that you were a mother of two kids, um, how was it balancing motherhood and being an entrepreneur and starting out when you have younger children to take care of as well? What was that like? I mean, how was that journey?
I think there were two things happening. In fact, three things happening. One is extreme self drive. I was really, really driven to make this happen. Second is the belief in speaking as a concept, as a business model, and then there was something in it. Third, and perhaps the most important piece of the puzzle was the support. I had built an entire ecosystem around me as a mother, right from the time I started expecting. Thankfully, my mother-in-law was extremely supporting when my first one happened, and then and they traditionally, they were rich people. They had a lot of help around them. There were like four or five people full time all around us all the time, so that helped. And that kind of I learned the art of employee management early, and
Yeah.
that also, I mean, mother-in-law in that sense really helped in kind of instilling that the thought process that you can't do uh, anything alone. Whether as an entrepreneur, as a mother, as an individual, anything. If you want to build anything, it has to be built in totality. My own mother, the entire family around me, and most importantly, my husband. And that's why I keep telling everybody that, if you want to do anything in life, I mean, forget about all the two by twos and all those consultative, frameworks that you use. Just you, if you want to use one, just use it to find the right partner.
Yeah.
If that is sorted, you are sorted.
Wow. Um, at any point, did you feel that maybe it would have been easier had you continued working and managing motherhood, or did you feel it was easier because now you had a little more control of your time and work? Um, how was that switch happening in your mind?
Actually, I never thought it like that. I never thought my job, any job, whether I was a parent or not, in a way that I have to use it to do something else. I never thought about balance. If I was working, I was in it completely. For example, when my second one happened, I was traveling till the ninth month.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
even the first one, I mean, I was working till the very last day. And I came back to work, I think, in less than 3 months. So I never thought that job was a tool to balance the other parts of my life, and that I could, use the maternity time or use the maternity leave to compensation milega, or aisa chutiyan milengi and all that. I never thought of it like that. If I enjoyed it, I kept doing it. The only problem was that I stopped enjoying what I was doing, and that was more to do with me as a person than me becoming a mother.
Okay. Okay. A lot of women usually tell us that maternity or motherhood kind of gives them an absolute clarity also about their career. And they start somehow like not ready to put up with, shit, if you will, and are looking at making the most of the time that they're spending in their career, building it, etc. Uh, was that something that you felt or you went through, or uh, was it irrespective of being a mother? This was something that you always wanted to do, or you always wanted to build it.
I think I was always like that. I was like that when I was 16, and I'm like that when I'm today 42. And I think it's just the function of why it really manifests when you become a mother, or when you enter any other stage in your life, whether you enter 30s and then you enter 40s and so on and so forth. I think it is a function of just the bandwidth that you have, and also experience, because you start realizing that being being unclear, yes, 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 that the Indian famous Indian nod. If you sit in the middle, it in the long term, it wastes a lot of time both sides, and it is of no use. You also tend to respect. I think you also kind of tend to show a lot more respect for the other person if you're being straight. It may hurt at that time, uh, the other person may feel मेरे को मना कर दिया, ऐसा बोल दिया या बिल्कुल सीधा बोल दिया, you should have sweetened the deal or something like that. But I think in the long term, rational people kind of think back and like, अच्छा किया, you did the right thing.
Right. Yeah. When we think about women entrepreneurs, right? I think in general, when we think about women at work, both either as entrepreneurs or as salaried employees, it feels like there is always this thought process in the ecosystem saying, we don't know if she can do it, she's already a mother, and she's already yeah, she will quit once her husband moves to another place, and there are a lot of these general stereotypes and biases that keep going round. I mean, of course things are changing. When you were building SpeakIn, uh, what did you face as being a woman entrepreneur? How accepting was the ecosystem? Do you see a shift in that today? Um, how has that journey shifted for you as well?
I think again, Lochan, three things happened. Number one is I have never seen it like that. I have never entered a meeting situation, team, job, client meeting, anything like that, thinking that I'm a woman. I've always entered as a professional. That's half the battle won. What the other person is thinking, not thinking, I think, I don't know. I mean, I don't even think about what the other person is thinking as far as the gender is concerned. Second is okay. I've never seen it is not correct. I've seen some flavors of it, but I have been so lucky that there are people, especially bosses that I've had in my journey, who've been so strong, and they've kind of shielded some bit of the flag that I probably would have got. So, for example, when my second one was coming, my boss at Ernst and Young, I don't know if you, I mean, all of you should probably look up this guy called Rakesh Batra. He actually stood up to the client. It's one of the largest luxury car manufacturers in the world, and I had to travel to Germany for that. And he stood up. The client said, she's in this state, she probably will not be able to deliver. He stood up for me and said that no, I've seen her. She delivers, and she will work on it. She'll give her best shot, and she is going to be on the team. And I was on the team, and it was a fantastic project. Third, and the leading up to, or rather, what leads up to perhaps second, is that if you show the will to deliver, to contribute, I don't think anybody, there's so much shortage of willful people today, whether inside or outside of companies,
Yeah.
that when the right person sees you, they will tag you along, and they'll not see you as caste, color, creed, or whatever.
Is this something that I know I'm going to make a very controversial statement, but a lot of times I also have seen women, taking not being willful about anything. So, either because of their own circumstances and choices, etc., just kind of taking it a little easy and saying, okay, it's okay if I have not delivered, if it's okay, I have not done this. Um, and therefore, there is a certain perception that gets formed about the gender at whole, not just that individual. So, do you feel this is something that women, when they are growing in their careers, they have to showcase it more than men, or do they have to just showcase it as any other professional, be it a man or a woman, and be professional in their space of work?
I think just be professional. Just showcase, just push forward in anything that you believe in. And I have seen, I mean, majority of speaking as women, and I see it in every single person who is working with me. They have the fire, they have the zeal. I think fire come is a function of two things. One is the will, and second is the resonance with the topic. If you believe in something, you will show the motivation to push and push forward. Maybe we've not found that spot yet, but I think maybe when I started the career, Locha, maybe I could have made a generic statement like that. But I think today things are changing. I think women are very fiery. They are moving for. They come from parents like you and me, and they're not seeing that difference. Perhaps uh, it's on the other side. I think men need help now.
Oh, yeah, that's a separate conversation altogether. I do remember a post of yours, and I think this sparked a lot of conversation internally in my team when we saw that. And where you spoke about how when women introduce themselves in interviews or when they do professional introductions, they always start by saying, "Hi, I'm so and so, I'm a mother of two." And then they go into the rest of the professional introduction. Um, what has been your experience when you've been interacting with women, and why do you feel, and why do you feel these two identities should be separate, if at all?
I don't think it should be separate. I think it's one, you're one and the same person. The only problem or the only reason why I kind of highlighted is that it's actually when you look at it from a mother's perspective, you tend to talk about things you believe in, number one. And two, those are weighing on you. So maybe in these cases, they are the ones who are taking the majority share of parenthood. And therefore, they automatically tend to resonate more or talk more about that particular area. Uh, and to me, it shows more lack of balance. It shows that the other person uh, you know, may need to explore more areas of her own self than just one. There's nothing wrong with it, uh, but in a professional setting, I think there's always a place. When I would go out, in a social setting, I would introduce myself differently. In a personal setting, differently. When I go to my kids' school, I introduce, of course, myself as so and so's mother and so and so's mother. I don't have any other identity, which is fine. But in a professional setting, in a job setting, I want to understand why are you right for this particular job.
Okay, so it's not really about having two separate identities. So are there, I mean, should women have two separate identities, or do they just get merged? How does that work, or how does that happen?
It's just one person. There is no separate identity. I don't believe in the dual concept of whether it's work life. When people talk about work life balance, when people talk about being X in office and this and at home and all that, it doesn't work. You're one person. What happens in the morning impacts your evening. What happens in the evening impacts your morning. Um, and I think embrace all aspects of your life. You're a mother, daughter, wife, daughter-in-law, sister-in-law, and friend, girlfriend, and so on and so forth. And, and that's it.
So when you are at work, you are still all of these
Yeah,
and a professional.
absolutely. You can't take it away from me. You can't take my children, the fact that I'm a mother, away from me. If I need to run out, or if even, and that's true not just because I'm the founder. It's because true for everybody in our team. If anybody wants to attend to anything, any part of their lives at any point of time, they do that. And work from home has kind of also compounded that. But that's it. I mean, that's what I keep telling my teams. I mean, you are you. You can't say that during 9 to 5, if your child needs medical care, you can't go because this is office ka kaam. Your parent needs help, or your anything at all.
Right.
Do what you have to do. That's it.
So how, I mean, you spoke about balance, and I'm going to ask this question saying, do you believe that in the word balance, or is there a different notion that you put to it? So when people keep talking about how do I balance between professional and personal commitments and so on, is there a different approach that they could look at, or they can think about?
See, I don't know. I'm the wrong. I'm really a wrong person for this question. I've received a lot of feedback on this answer, because don't think I don't understand the concept of work-life balance. I work 24/7. I live 24/7. I can go and be with my kids when I want to be. I mean, unless there is a huge commitment. I mean, you have to prioritize. The only thing that you have to do is you have to prioritize at that moment. And I think as a woman, that's the only thing that I believe is a little stronger for you at this point. But I see that with my husband as well. I mean, he would also prioritize. So today morning we have, for example, we've been trying to talk for a while, right? Today
Yeah.
morning I had something else scheduled for me. But yesterday night or last night, a client, a big client, called us for a meeting. I pushed it out. I entered the meeting, and then I finished that meeting, and I came back to one of other office locations to have this conversation. You just prioritize on the go. That is the level of intelligence that you need, and that will define your work life balance. It's not that you have a sick child and then you are in some client meeting. That to me can probably happen once in a blue moon. It's an exception because it's really really urgent. The client is just going to go and your company is going to suffer. Maybe that to me could be a dichotomy, or that could to me could be a situation where you can question your priorities. But apart from that, have the basic. I think all of us have the basic common sense to prioritize our life. But you have to keep doing that on the
Right.
go.
So motherhood usually ends up being one exit point and a very, very major exit point for women from the industry, from their careers. And one of the common things that we hear is that I'm not able to balance. I'm not able to, I'm feeling overwhelmed, or I find it challenging to be able to do both. What are your thoughts on how both women and maybe the ecosystem, and I would extend it to organizations, can actually enable or support women more, or enable or support the fact that they don't have to do this balancing act of sorts of all the time, or they don't have to necessarily exit to be to be kind of completing one part of their life, or doing something for themselves.
I think you need to look for roles which provide you that flexibility. It is impossible. I've been in some of the topmost consulting companies world over. It is impossible to do a defined job which does not give you the flexibility to prioritize your life as well as work, as and when needed. That is a challenge. I mean, when I was also working towards the last leg of my working life, leaving at 9 o'clock, coming back at 6 o'clock just didn't work. It can't work. Simple. My child needs me, or my this thing needs me. It's not that I'm trying to run away from work or anything. There are a million things happening simultaneously. Your child is crying, not settling in a crash. School gets over at 2. Who picks up? There's a security issue. That this you can't send a driver and a helper to pick up the child. You want to be there yourself. Blah 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 blah. Who's going to feed them? Who's going to take care of them? Etc. Etc. Those to me are real priorities at that time. See, I that's why I'm not the right person to answer this question, because I soon after entered into an entrepreneurial setup where I decided, where I had the flexibility to prioritize. I can work at 3 o'clock in the night, but my work should allow me to do that. In a high touch point scenario, if you are on a client site, if you are working on the shop floor, if you are working um, as support staff, as a chief of staff to the CEO, or you yourself are a CEO who should be seen in office, you will, that's when you will suffer. So I think, at least to me, I think, and all of this does ease out. I mean, I'm sure that all the mothers would know that it gets easier after the first 2 years. The first 2 years are the most terrible. At least that was my experience. And but after that, it kind of eases out. Once the kids start going to school and so on and so forth. But till then, my suggestion is to take up something which gives you flexibility. Prioritize flexibility over everything. I don't think it'll be right for you to expect from the organization to let you be in a high touch point role just because you've entered into a different phase of your life. It is not possible. That role needs to be vacated. You need to move out, whether within the company or whichever way, because that role is suffering, and everybody else who's depending on that role is going to suffer.
I know that's always the constant conflict, I think, that women do feel, especially younger women who are, let's say, have not yet embarked on this journey, and they're thinking, okay, should I push this out further because I'm in a maybe a high career growth role, which is obviously a very high touch role in some sense. How do I move out of that? And if I move into something which is seemingly more flexible, suddenly I'm out of the limelight, or suddenly I'm out of the path, and so on. And that's always the question and challenge. And I know, you chose an entrepreneurial path, but the first time around you chose to come back when you had your first child, and you continued with that for a few years. So what was your path like, when you came back the first time round with EY as well? So what
I
was that
lost a
path like?
promotion. I lost a promotion when I came back after the first one. But it is fine. It is absolutely okay. It does not reflect on the organization. I was out of action for a good X months, right? So I was not there. I mean, why does a company owe me to promote me versus somebody else who was there day in day out and was slogging and contributing to the company as well as to clients? How do I compete with that? I don't. It was did it feel bad? Yes, it did. Was it unfair? No. So it is okay. I was doing something else. So that's why I keep saying you have to look at your life in totality. You can't say मेरे को promotion भी करनी थी, मुझे CEO बन जाना था, I would have been a partner at EY, already just because I had not had this baby. No. You, in the larger scheme of things, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years is nothing. And with all the support that you're getting, had I come back in the same role, in the same spirit, I probably would have got a lot more promotion because they want women partners now to come.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
so there is the other bias which is happening, but no,
Yeah.
I didn't want that. So, and it is absolutely fine. Please do not hold it against either the organization or yourself.
Yeah.
You're gaining a lot. You're gaining a lifetime of, actually beyond lifetime. You're creating a legacy for yourself. You're creating a child. Give yourself that credit, and let that be a milestone in your performance of life,
And
and be happy about it.
so look at it more as in a totality
Yeah,
space. Look at it
yeah.
in overall what your life has to offer, and not just that smaller piece. And this just reminds me of this very early conversation I actually had with one of my managers. I think he didn't nominate me for one training or something, and I remember going and fighting with him and saying, you didn't nominate me in this quarter, that means I will not get promoted. And those were the thought process, that if I didn't go for this training, which means I'm not being considered for uh, next level of promotion. And he just said, your career is like a 30-year lifespan. These 3 months is not going to make a difference. If not, and not like I'm saying you're not on the path of promotion, but if not this, then next time. So it's just a long journey. Now, at that time, I obviously thought it was just giving me some, some BS to get out of the conversation. But today, when I look back, I'm like, yeah, he's right. Even if I had got that promotion 3 months earlier, I may still have ended up doing what I'm doing today, and that probably wouldn't have, you know, in the larger scheme of things and looking at my life in totality, I think it probably, didn't. Uh, Somewhere stops mattering at some point. Taking this conversation forward as well. Any woman who's thinking about getting into the entrepreneurial journey, because entrepreneurial journey itself is also filled with enough challenges, and like you said, lot of times tears as well, and exhilaration and joy, all of that. And I can testify for that. But if you're a young mother or a new mother and you do have aspirations of being an entrepreneur, are there is there something that they should keep in mind, or is there something that how should they look at this journey or this new phase of their life and career while they're also being a young mother at the same time?
I think one, and that is true for both men as well as women, is don't become an entrepreneur for the heck of it. It is not a fun game.
Yeah.
It may sound, it is. It is extremely stressful. It'll take years of you. And you'll age faster. You'll have more
And eye
wrinkles
bags
sooner.
quicker.
So
So, yes.
it's very, very, very painful. and the problem is you don't even know where the pain will come from. So it is that bad. Is it fun? Absolutely, but it is going to be fun only and only if you become an entrepreneur around um, a topic or an area or a product or a service that you actually believe in. So it needs to be a combination of will and skill. You have to find what you're good at. You have to find what excites you. You have to go through your own Johari window and then evaluate if this is what is right. And usually, but I would say in 9 out of 10 cases, providence will follow. You will see pieces falling into place for things you are right as a person, as a professional, and the timing. So all these three things need to fall in place, and and that's it. I mean, if it is not meant to be, if it is not something that is exciting you, if it is not something that you believe in, don't start from the point of becoming. I want to be an entrepreneur. I think the topic, the product, the service should lead into you becoming an entrepreneur. Or entrepreneurship should lead into something, something, something.
And definitely don't look at it only from a flexibility angle, but also some.
Oh, it's a nightmare in flexibility. It's an absolute nightmare in flexibility. I don't think I have ever, it's been 5+ years since I started. I have never had a 10 hour, 9 hour, 8 hour day. Never. So so yeah, there'll be a lot of trade-off involved, but you'll have fun. I mean, I think if you like what you're doing, you will enjoy it, and then it'll not feel uh, like a 24-hour day.
My last question. Um, as
Yes.
you've been on both sides of the journey, so you've been you've I mean, you're a career professional anyway, so you've were working with an organization, you went on to start your own. The first time around, when you had your first child, you were an salaried employee. Second time around, you became an entrepreneur. Both things have happened in both journeys. What would be your advice, through your careers and through your life, to both women professionals, as in women who are in jobs with organizations, and women entrepreneurs who are, and both these groups who are thinking about motherhood or are in early stages of their motherhood journey? So, what would be your advice to them, or any thoughts that you would like to share with them?
I think three things. One is that stop thinking of yourself as women. Look at yourself in totality as a person, as a professional, as a thought leader, and then move into any situation. Do not, for God's sake, do not think of yourself as, oh, I'm a woman, I'm going to get into this meeting, or I'm a woman, I'm going to get into this role, etc., etc. No. It's agnostic. It's only what you believe you can do that you will be able to do. That's it. Your gender doesn't decide.
Yeah.
Even in military nowadays, it doesn't decide. So, number two is create and cultivate an ecosystem. I think women do tend to have a very firm belief in their own capabilities. I think, contrary to the belief that the world sees or perception, I think women tend to always overestimate themselves in a lot of personal situations. मैं ये भी कर लूंगी, मैं ये भी कर लूंगी, मैं ये भी कर लूंगी, मैं वो भी कर लूंगी, मैं पेरेंट्स का भी ध्यान रखूंगी, मैं एम्प्लॉइज का भी रखूंगी, मैं हस्बैंड का भी रखूंगी, बच्चों का भी, and I'll do this and I'll take care of myself and I'll blah blah blah. Doesn't work. So you have to, and it's an ongoing process. You can't define it. I mean, I've many times, I see people saying that, this is my month plan. I will go to the spa on second Saturday, and I'll get my nails done on the fourth Saturday, and I'll take my kids out for this Sunday and all. It doesn't work. Just go with the flow and prioritize on the go, but learn to prioritize. And but that's a definition that you have to do for yourself. Are your parents your first priority? Are your kids your first priority? Is your husband your first priority? Is your work your first priority? What is most
Yeah,
important to you?
first.
Is yourself and taking care of yourself the first priority, and in that order. Lastly, I think be very, very prudent about money. Money and health. I think these, I know health is most supreme, but money is very, very critical for women. I don't see, or I don't think I know of any single woman in a similar situation who can boast of having a huge assets to her own name. Maybe my father, it's my father's, it's my husband's, it's my this, it's my that. Change that. Change that game. Park money for your own self, which you won't touch. And that'll give you a very different level of confidence. Um, I think those are the three things that I think I would really need uh, my daughters to imbibe as
Awesome.
they grow
I
up.
love the last part of it for sure, of being financially prudent and how that's something that a lot of women shy away from. I mean, I personally can say that I also was like that for some time till I had to get on that journey of being an entrepreneur. I said, okay, now I have to build something for myself. This has been a great conversation. Thank you, Deepshikha. Thank you for taking time out from your super busy schedule and for sharing some of these interesting perspectives. It's very interesting to also hear on what are some real pieces, real challenges, and not just always look at it from a goody goody lens and all the shoulds lens, but what is really happening and how do we navigate through what really is the situation and scenario and make the most of who we are and what we can do. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your journeys, and thank you for supporting more women to have their careers uninterrupted.